Daring Don't. This episode is pretty broken for me, so I think I have to attack it from another angle. The idea of how I will analyze this episode comes from an anime. The English and the German dub doesn't match up, so I retranslated.
Mindestens, ich beobachte dich schon eine Weile und das nervt ziemlich. Um ehrlich zu sein, ich kann so ein abartiges Getue wie das von dir eigentlich nicht ausstehen.
Ach ja, wenn das so ist, warum lädst du mich dann ein? Warum willst du unbedingt einen mit mir trinken?
Genau darum, du Idiot, denn ich mag dich nicht und ich weiß nicht, was ich von dir halten soll. Und wenn ich dir ausweiche, wird sich daran nichts ändern, also versuche ich mit dir zu reden. Kapiert man? Vielleicht verstehe ich so besser, was für ein Mensch du bist und wir kommen klar. Jeder hat seine Gründe, warum er sich so verhält, wie er sich verhält. Wenn man im Gespräch seine Stärken erkennt und weiß, wie er dazu gekommen ist, toleriert man die Dinge, die man nicht gemocht hat, vielleicht, weil man ihn in seiner Art besser versteht.
My biggest problem is Daring Do being real. So let's find out why Daring Do had to become part of this world.
Here I come, Daring Do, to join an adventure with the greatest, bravest, coolest, most incredible hero I could ever... Okay, maybe I just need a sec.
The crux of the episode is that Rainbow Dash can't keep up with a pony she admires. So what about Spitfire, Soren, or Fleetfoot?
Bravo, Rarity! I say, how did you know Fleetfoot would be victorious?
My friend Rainbow Dash talks about her all the time. She says what Fleetfoot lacks in size, she makes up for in speed.
Sounds pretty promising, but no, it can't work. This is an example how later episodes influence previous episodes. If you remember the statement of Megan McCarthy that they don't want to show Derby before Rainbow Falls airs, then you know that Rainbow Falls was one of the first episodes that they planned for this season. So, how would Rainbow Dash react if the ponies she cannot keep up with ask her to join them in their team? Or even, in Soren's case, replace this pony?
We want you to fly with us. Woohoo! Sign me up!
Exactly. The temptation would be too big. However, there is another problem with this setting. The Wonderbolts are team players, so they would ask their teammates for help or would gladly accept Rainbow Dash's offer, knowing that teamwork is important. So no.
I work alone. No, my hero's way better off without me.
So no Wonderbolt works for the story and the later moral. So how about a new character? With all the time they waste in this episode, they could easily establish a new character Rainbow Dash is a fan of. Here Dave Polsky shows that he knows his audience. How do most bronies react when a new character is established that seems to have a deep relationship with one of the main characters?
Shining Armor and Princess Cadence are quite possibly the two biggest cop-outs the series has produced for the sake of convenience thus far.
Let's face it, even a one-sided crush on a celebrity, without formal introduction of this character, rubs some of us in the wrong way. To make this story work with a new character, he would have to create the new character, that not happens to be a Wonderbolt, to establish a bonding between Rainbow Dash and this character, shows us that this pony deserves Rainbow Dash fangasm, generate a conflict that this pony is not capable of, make the new character ditch Rainbow Dash, and all that without rubbing us the wrong way.
Seriously?
Okay, using Daring Don't is the right way, but does she have to be real? The answer is yes. In the filmpic Sisters Do, there is a pretty good example for this. Right in the first chapter, Daring Do says, "You said you have read the books. Then you know just as well as me that no pony could do that thing she does." If Rainbow Dash has to compare herself to a fictional character, the moral of this episode would completely different. Don't try to become as good as your fictional hero. Don't try to better yourself so you can close to your imaginary idol. Not a very good lesson to learn. So Daring Do has to be real, and the rest of the episode actually establish her as a person. She is capable of everything in her book. She even writes them. And she has flaws. The conflict is generated by what we know about Daring Do. The inner and outer conflict of Rainbow Dash is well placed. Her disbelief in her own abilities feels not forced. Daring Do works better than the most one-shot characters because 2 characters of the main 6 admires her, not just one. So what do I think now about this episode after tolerating that Daring Do has become part of this world?
Decent, but I wouldn't go writing home about it.
I cannot look over this, but maybe if Daring Do makes another appearance in a later episode, it will change. And don't forget, they are watching us, watching
Heard her?
them.
She says she works alone. How can we just stand by and do nothing? You know what's at stake here? Aoizotl has sought control of the Tenochtitlan Basin since Book 3.
True, but in Book 4, she defeated Aoizotl and secured control of the Amulet of Atonement, dispelling the dark magic of the Quetzalcoatl Empress, and thus protecting the basin with the Radiant Shield of Razdon.
But the Radiant Shield of Razdon is vulnerable to the dark enchantment of the Rings of Scorchero.
But are you forgetting that the rings were scattered to the 4 corners of Tenochtitlan, thus rendering the dark enchantment powerless?
Only if you assume that the rings have yet to be retrieved, and the ring Kebelerin just stole isn't the last to completely restore the Dark Tower and its cruel hold on Tenochtitlan. Did you ever think of that?